I know, I guess we didn't really think about that. We're like, where do they go?
I like to have your faces. So thank you for at least some of you being there. Welcome to day 3 of our 5-day challenge. Sarah Montana here with my BizBabes partner, Ray. And today is all about lead generation. And we will get started here in just a minute. Like I said, I like to kind of let people trickle in a little bit. So this is a fantastic video. It's just your inspirational thought for the day. So if you haven't watched this, this is a Teen Choice Award speech that Ashton Kutcher did. It was years ago, but it's still applicable today and it's fantastic. So enjoy.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's be brutally honest. This is the old guy award. This is like the grandpa award. And after this, I get to go to like the geriatric home. First of all, I don't have a career without you guys. I don't get to do any of the things that I get to do without you. You know, I thought that I thought that it might be interesting. You know, in Hollywood and in the industry and the stuff we do, there's a lot of like insider secrets to keeping your career going, and a lot of insider secrets to making things tick. And I feel like a fraud. My name is actually not even Ashton. Ashton is my middle name. My first name's Chris. And it always has been. And it got changed when I was like 19 and I became an actor. But there were some really amazing things that I learned when I was Chris. And I wanted to share those things with you guys because I think it's helped me be here today. So it's really 3 things. The first thing is about opportunity. The second thing is about being sexy. And the third thing is about living life. So first, opportunity. I believe that opportunity looks a lot like hard work. When I was 13, I had my first job with my dad carrying shingles up to the roof. And then I got a job washing dishes at a restaurant. And then I got a job in a grocery store deli. And then I got a job in a factory sweeping Cheerio dust off the ground. And I've never had a job in my life that I was better than. I was always just lucky to have a job. And every job I had was a stepping stone to my next job. And I never quit my job until I had my next job. And so opportunities look a lot like work. Number 2, being sexy. The sexiest thing in the entire world is being really smart. And being thoughtful. And being generous. Everything else is crap, I promise you. It's just crap that people try to sell to you to make you feel like less. So don't buy it. Be smart, be thoughtful, and be generous. The third thing is something that I just relearned when I was making this movie about Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs said, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way that it is. And that your life is to live your life inside the world and try not to get in too much trouble and maybe get an education and get a job and make some money and have a family. But life can be a lot broader than that when you realize one simple thing. And that is that everything around us that we call life was made up by people that are no smarter than you. And you can build your own things. You can build your own life that other people can live in. So build a life. Don't live one, build one. Find your opportunities and always be sexy. I love you guys.
Isn't that so good?
Here's to my friend and the Ultimate Choice Award.
Sorry. So good. Love it. Okay.
What I love about that too is that he's so casual. Like he comes in like a baseball hat and just like normal clothes to like an awards ceremony. Like he's just authentically himself, which kind of ties in today.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I love that. That's so cool. I didn't even know his name was Chris.
I know.
Now I can't unsee that.
Now we know. Okay. Sorry, my slides are going insane here. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started. So, like I said earlier, our conversation today is going to be about leads, lead generation, and then kind of going back to yesterday, we're going to work on taking our clients and our customers from the top of the funnel and then helping them with their journey down to the bottom of the funnel where we actually do get to make money and have some transactions happen. So we'll be talking about creating content and going back to yesterday's experiences about the niche and about their needs. And then we're going to show you some unique things that we've done in our business with Facebook groups, and then some connections with local vendors and guides that we've created in the community that have really helped our business. So I wanted to open it up for people as well to just share, and we can talk about these ideas and see what's working well for people and what's working, you know, maybe something a little bit outside of the box. I think that, you know, kind of going along with what Ashton was saying is, I think that in the real estate industry, there's certain agents out there that are very loud about the way that they are doing business, and it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore and say like, well, I'm not like that person, so there's no way I can be successful in this business. And that's simply not true. Like, you can be authentically you and show up in the way that feels right for you and still find a client base and help clients that that resonate with you and your messaging. So one of the biggest things that we have used in our business are Facebook groups. And I'm sure you guys are a member of lots of them. Obviously, a lot of you come from our Facebook group for our new agent tips and tricks. But if you think about really even just that group was not something that I set out of like, oh, I'm going to like go and be this like person in front of a bunch of agents and I'm going to do coaching and I'm going to do all this stuff. I was actually working as the associate broker at my brokerage. And I was in charge of training new agents. And there were all these questions that I felt like I was answering over and over and over again. And it was like, okay, there has to be a better way for me to get this information to the people that want it. And I was realizing how much of a need there was for that. And so I created this group because there was a need in the marketplace. They had questions. There were other, referral groups and things like that people could join once they were established, but something that was going to kind of give them a step-by-step guide to walk through wasn't really there. So I created it because I truly wanted to help. And so I think a lot of times when you might hear a strategy of, oh, I'm going to build a Facebook group, your initial reaction is like, oh, I'm going to share listings on Facebook, or I'm going to start a real estate group, or I'm going to start, something that is more of that bottom of the funnel activity. And I want you to broaden your ideas on what types of things that you can create a group for, that you can add value, that at some point you will be able to have that opportunity to hopefully get them into a new home or to sell one of their homes. But the group itself does not need to be about that. I actually did a coaching call with someone yesterday, and she works with horses and loves, that world. She knows it very well. She has horses. She has some therapy things that she does in her business. And it would be a very natural thing for her to do would be to create a Facebook group for horse lovers in her area, you know, where she can share different tips and she can share things like that. And then as she builds that community, inevitably those people are going to, if they do have horses, they might want to buy a piece of property that they were renting a space and now they want to buy something. And so there's a lot of ways to create value in a group that's outside of your like real estate niche. We are going to go into that a little bit more later on today, and then even more tomorrow. We're going to show you some ways to kind of leapfrog that process and kind of get you going faster than, you know, because it does take time. The Facebook algorithm is kind of interesting, and Ray studies it all the time to make sure that we're kind of doing the right things. But we didn't grow our group through like paid ads or anything like that. It was an organic way to do that. And so if you can go in and create value in there and share information, those conversations will naturally start to happen. Another thing that I think, especially the younger generation and the new age of real estate agents, you see so many people that are, you know, making TikToks and sharing everything online. And that is great. And there is definitely a place for it. But sometimes we forget about the old things that used to work. And I've had a lot of success with mailer campaigns, either door hangers or actual like handwritten note like mailers. So Ray, do you want to talk a little bit about our door hanger campaign that we did? Essentially, we created 4 different door hangers, and we did it ended up probably being about 2 months, but I took a farm of the area that I was looking to focus on that I knew had the highest probability of people in my target market. So at that time, I was in a you know, slightly older neighborhood. I wouldn't say older, but, you know, 10 years or so. And a lot of the colors and things like that were the beige and the very like warm colors. I live in Southern Utah, so everything is red here, or peach, or of some sort. And I personally, going back to having your target persona, I personally was wanting something with a little bit more white and the black and those types of colors. And so I was ready to move up to something different, but I wanted to stay in the same area because I liked the schools and I liked what was just the feel of the area. And so I started to look for ways to, you know, make that jump. And I created these mailer campaigns and thought of myself as the target customer. What am I thinking? What am I thinking right now? What pains do I have that is making me want to consider making this move? And then we created a 4-week strategy of taking that farm, and I hired 2 of my kids' friends and 2 of my boys, and they went out on skateboards and they hung door hangers on 500 houses in our little area that had that same demographic of what I was essentially. Would you be willing to just kind of explain what we did on those, Ray?
Yeah, so Sarah explained quite a bit of it, but essentially on a couple of them. So our first one we sent out was what Sarah was saying, was a lot of the homes there are like this like brown interior. So it was just little things like switch up the paint, switch up your doorknobs. And we actually created an Amazon list for them. So we signed up with Amazon affiliates and we just created, it's called an idea list, but we just essentially did like new curtains, new doorknobs, new like faucet for your sink, just like little things that they don't actually have to spend a bunch of money on. I think it was like under 5,000.
It was under 5,000.
Yeah.
And you might think like, well, where's the money? Like, obviously you might make some affiliate money, right? But it's like, if you think about that of like, okay, I'm leading with value. Like, I actually had a client that was considering whether or not moving up was the right choice for them, but moving brought them to the very, very, very top of their price range. And so it may have been in their best interest to just do some upgrades on their current home. And so Ray and I got together and we kind of went through, we love decorating and things like that. So we made these lists, but again, maybe for that one customer, they did decide to do the upgrades. But if you position the stuff that you're marketing correctly, of like, love it or list it, is a great idea. You know, obviously there's a TV show and things like that, but you know, for the, out of those 500, maybe 10 of them decided to do a remodel, but maybe another 10 or 20 of them decided to do the move up. And so it's amazing how when you're just be willing to send out content, even if you don't know the exact way that it's going to turn into a sale in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, and two, like, just maybe they actually do want to list their house, but they were like, ooh, that's a cute vase or whatever it is. Like, I'm not moving for 6 months. I still want to have that in my house. So we still did get a couple affiliate commissions from those too. And
for sure.
The thing is, just because someone doesn't buy it right then and there, they could buy it in a month from now. Like, I still have affiliate commission links like spread out through my social media, and people will buy stuff like a year later. So it is something that I think is good for all realtors to have, is just like, even just like a cute home decor section on like Amazon, or just like links to your favorite couch. Like, I just moved into a new house and I can't tell you how many hours I spent looking for a couch. Like, that would have been such a good resource for me to be like, here are all the dupes for the cloud couch, if you guys know what that is. Like, what I wanted, but I was like, I cannot afford that. So I feel like, honestly, whoever is in this call right now should go and make that, because it's blowing up on TikTok right now, actually. And it's funny because on Facebook the other day, someone asked, they're like, hey, what's a dupe for the cloud couch? And I was like, I just went through this. I can tell you. But yeah, I don't see a lot of realtors do that. And I think it would be an amazing resource.
Another thing that you could do is create that messaging of, hey, I offer a free consult of like, and I will come in for free and I will give you a list of 10 or 15 things that you could do to increase the value of your home, to make it more aesthetically pleasing if you decide to list it, or if you decide to stay here. Like, it's a free service that I offer. I feel like a lot of people, especially ones that are not like into design, like, I love decorating, but like, I've had multiple clients that were like, will you just like go to my like Target and Amazon and just like put stuff in my cart for me, because I don't want to have to do that. But like, that doesn't take, when you have that skill set, it doesn't take that long for us, especially if you're doing it for multiple people. So sharing that opportunity with your customers and in your clients is a really easy value add that in the end will turn into a lead for you.
Yeah. Well, even too, like, just being a real estate agent, like, obviously you love houses, but you can find little things, like, for example, like organizing. If you like organizing, you can kind of do that as like an upsell to like your package that you offer, and say like, hey, when you move in, I'll help you organize your pantry or your closet. And I actually have a friend I went to high school with who started doing that on the side, and she makes 6 figures just doing it on the side. She actually had to like hire her friends to help her, and she's not even an agent, but I feel like if she was an agent, she'd have a lot more exposure, you know, because it would just be such an easy sale. And obviously you are communicating with your client every day, and it could be something that just like comes up in conversation naturally, where you don't have to like sell it, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And just so we don't ignore Chantel, I agree with you. I think there is a difference though in like your dream client and the age that they are, because a lot of Sarah's clientele, especially in like St. George, Utah, they are a little bit older and they're just all over Facebook, and that's what they do. They don't go on Instagram, they don't go on TikTok, but we can talk about kind of the younger demographic and how to reach out to them later on this call. But yeah,
And
agree
the other thing that you
much.
have to think about is that is true because a lot of people are doing the exact thing that we're telling you not to do. They're forming groups so they can spam people. They're forming groups so they have a place of like, hey, I want to sell my services. No one wants to be a part of a group that is nothing but a sales pitch. Like, if you guys even notice in our tips and tricks group and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in there every day adding value, because I know that like I'm not all the time, but you would be astounded at how many posts that we decline, because if we do not allow people to come in there and just like want to bombard you with stuff to buy, because that's not what the group was for. The group was not put together to sell people to anything. The goal was to help new agents, like period, full stop. And if you're creating a group, even for younger people, again, like, yes, you have millennials and things that are not Facebook isn't as great, and they might not want to join groups. But if they're newly married and all of a sudden a group pops up or their friend tells them about, like, oh, did you hear about that new home buyers group that they're explaining like the way to do a rate buy down right now and to get into a house with 0% interest? Like, if you're actually delivering them value and not trying to pitch them, it's a lot easier to get people to join.
Yeah.
Okay, so our mailer campaigns, we also on that one did, at the time, interest rates were super low. And so it was like, hey, is it time to refinance? Do you have more equity in your home than you think? Or is it time to upgrade? Or do you want to take advantage of your equity? And so we did a mailer campaign around that, where we sent them to a landing page that kind of explained the different options for them. Now, as the market is starting to shift, I just started working with a company, and I will I'll put the link in the chat here in a minute, and I'll send it out on the Facebook group, but it's called Divvy Homes. And essentially what it is a company that will help homeowner or renters. They identify a house to purchase, and the company buys that house and allows the client to pay rent, and a portion of that rent goes towards their down payment, and it starts building their credit. So if you found an area and you were wanting to target first-time home buyers, you could do a mailer campaign that was like doing those pains of like, is your credit score not quite where it needs to be, but you really want to get into a house? Take a look at our blog post for 5 ways to raise your credit score. Do you know that you're throwing money away every month on rent, but you think that homeownership is out of reach? Check out this whatever on options for people that you may not know about. So do you understand what I'm saying? Like, think of the situation, because even as the market shifts, there's opportunity. It doesn't have to be, it can be like, oh my goodness, like interest rates are skyrocketing. Like, you just have to think far enough in advance so that you can start understanding and nailing out those pains of what your customers are going to start experiencing as the market is shifting. The other one that we've had a lot of success with are handwritten notes. So there's a couple of different options. Same thing, I'll put these, all the stuff that I mentioned, I have tried to at least get some type of a discount for you guys. So if you hear something and you are interested in it, feel free to message us, because more than likely you'll get like a free sign up, or you'll get, something. So if you have questions about the stuff that we're mentioning, just let us know. But I use a company called Audience. Either AI or CO or something like that. And it's literally a robot that writes out with an actual pen in handwriting whatever you want it to say. And I used this strategy in, I was targeting a 55 and older community that I was wanting to try to get listings in. It was actually my parents' neighborhood, and I had someone that was wanting to move to that area. And so I just got the addresses for that small little area. And I literally was just like, hey, Jim and Susan, my parents actually live down the street, and I'm a real estate agent, and I actually have some clients that are looking for a home in this area. And I was just curious if you have, had any thoughts on potentially selling. If you would be willing to entertain a conversation, go ahead and scan this QR code and I'll reach out to you and we can just start a conversation. I got so many scans from that. And people that were interested, because it had something of like, do you want to know the value of your home or something like that? Some people just wanted a market analysis, but I got 3 solid listing leads from that. And I think, again, if it's a very authentic and real messaging, in my opinion, putting money towards mailers that say like, hi, I'm your neighbor, I'm a real estate agent. No offense. We've all done it before, but it's not your highest and best use of your marketing budget, in my opinion. Let's see. The QR code was linked to your website. So yes, so that's actually, I think that's on our next page. I'll explain that in just a minute. Okay, Lorene. Then the other thing that you can do from lead generation, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but go and interview people. And then take that and make it into content. Because again, it's very difficult to put yourself in everyone's shoes. So go find people that are in your target demographic and talk to them and have someone come and videotape you or put it on voice record and interview them, and then use that in social media posts that you are going to create value and share information with your customers. Sorry. Okay, so things to remember when you are creating content and trying to generate leads is, we'll talk about the technology first because someone was just asking about that. So use technology to capture the info. If you are spending money or even just spending time and energy and you are just randomly putting your phone number out there, there is no way for you to track your ROI. You have to be able to track what you are doing in your business to make sure that it actually makes sense. You can't just throw money at everything with no way of knowing, well, I mean, I sold some deals, so it must be working. And it's like, okay, well, was it the $1,500 mailer campaign that worked? Or was it these social media posts over here? Or was it because you went and played pickleball and created a club on Facebook? Like, you need to know how your leads are coming to you once the engine starts running. So on our mailers, I use a QR code, and depending on what the call to action is where that QR code leads. So if it's like, do you want to know the value of your home? Like on our website that we use through Brivity, you can actually create subdomain pages. So, I mean, I could do, like, there's a neighborhood called the Arbors. I could literally create a custom landing page with like a click of a button that just said, what is your Arbors home worth? And just send it to those people in that neighborhood. I did that when I first got into town. I was trying to target a very high-end neighborhood. So I bought, it's called Entrada, and I literally bought the domain, like myentradahomevalue.com. And then I did mailers into just that subdivision and said, like, are you interested in what your Entrada home is worth? Or, how the prices have increased in this area. And I send them to that page. Now, I also might send them to just a landing page with like a blog post, but I make it so that there's tracking so that I know who is clicking on those QR codes. So there's some type of a lead capture there. And then we also do texting. So there's several companies out there that do it. It's part of our CRM that we use, but I know there's other things out there. But So if we have like an expensive listing, we did a parade home last year, and if you text the word Cliffside to 59559, you will get information about our parade home, and you'll get a little link to like our design packet that we created with all of the finishings and things like that were in the home. But it just in like listings, if you have a text code, then you can have a text message will go to them with a link to the actual listing that they're looking at. And then you can create a follow-up sequence that goes on of like, hey, you were interested in this home. Well, why don't you take a look at these homes that are in the area nearby? So there's lots of different things that you can do with that. We've used text signs for events where like last year, actually, this is a great one for you. We did a pumpkin patch, and we were giving away pumpkins at the pumpkin patch. So we essentially, I can't remember what the code was, but it was if you texted pumpkin to 59559, you got an invite to the pumpkin patch with all of the details about it. And then that was like your ticket to get your free pumpkin. But then we created a follow-up sequence that continued to reach out to those people afterwards. And so it's a great way to capture their information.
Well, another thing to snowball on top of that, I was listening to a podcast on business the other day, and they were talking about how everyone will open a text message, but it's like, I can't remember the percentage of how many people will actually open an email. Mm-hmm. So the power of texting really is amazing. Even if you just want to get in front of them in some sort of way, we've seen amazing results with the texting, no matter what it is. And they actually have, Sarah, is it Bitly or is it like Snaply?
Oh, I use Sniply. I'll send a link to that as well. We'll put it in, I'll put all of those links in the like the show notes afterwards. Yeah.
And you can,
you can shorten those links.
Like any URL you can put in there and see if people are clicking, how many clicks you get. So yeah, even if you were to put something like on your Facebook page and say like, hey, click this webinar, you can see how many clicks you get if you put it through an additional site first.
Yeah. But it's super smart to be able to do that because it allows you to track everything. So even if you're sending people to the same web page, you can use something like Sniply to see, like Ryan and I always do that when we're sending out like email marketing, and I'm doing stuff on Facebook because he's all about email marketing and I'm more like, okay, I'm going to like do stuff in my Facebook group. So when we invite people to something like this, I do one link for people that I'm sending to an email and another one that I'm sending from Facebook so that I know who got more people there, because it's just very good knowledge to have. And so if you're going to go through marketing efforts, make sure that you are actually tracking those results. I was spending over $2,000 a month when I first bought my brokerage. I had zero idea if it was working or not. There was no way that I was tracking it. And I think back now and realize how much money I threw away because I have no idea if it was actually getting any type of results.
Yeah. I'd be curious in the chat if everyone can put like what marketing tactics they've been using that has actually been working for them.
Yes, that would be
whether
great.
It's like QR codes, social media, signs. Like it's always hard because I keep seeing billboards like as I'm driving on the freeway and I'm like, how are you tracking your ROI? Like,
yeah,
how do you do that? Patricia, social media. Nice.
What else? So I do want to talk a little bit about social media here in a second too. But what was I going to say? Social media. I'll just kind of finish through a couple of these little notes here. As far as like creating content. And one is that authenticity sells. And so I know when I first was getting into business and, talking to people, or like back in the day, I was doing like TV commercials and things like that. In 2015, that was because social media wasn't a thing. and it's difficult. You want to like take multiple takes and things like that. And that Big Boo thing that we mentioned yesterday will help a lot with that. But just know that like, it's totally fine if you mess up and you're like creating a video, like people see your personality and they see your substance. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if anything, they know when it's been rehearsed. And so being authentic and real and just, you know, grabbing the phone and talking to your customer like you're just talking to a friend is a lot more authentic and will resonate with your target customer way more than practicing it 15 times and doing multiple takes. And then the other thing I want to mention, we will, I'll share some information on how to do this, but also as you're going out and doing prospecting and things like that, one thing that we've found great success with is it's called a pulse card, but essentially it's like a little credit card. And when you pop it up in anywhere near someone's phone, it will pull up a website. And on that website, it has all of my information. You can ask to be a guest on my podcast on there. It has a link to my calendar if you want to book an appointment with me. It has my listings. It has my contact information where you just push a button and it says add my contact, and it'll open up in their phone and they can save the contact, and it has everything there with my picture and my logo and everything. So that's really helpful. But a little caveat to that, the way that I use that is after I've gotten their information, because I like to make sure that the ball stays in my court. So one of the things that I have become very good at, whenever I'm in a social situation and I finally have the opportunity to get someone's information, I take a picture of them. And it always kind of catches people off guard, but it's so helpful for me because it's way easier to remember a face than a name. And they kind of think it's like fun. They'll like sit there and pose, or sometimes I'll do like a selfie with them depending on the situation. But I throw them into the contacts in my phone. And then, you know, I have auto plan sequences and things like that I can follow up with people. But in my opinion, the way of the traditional card is going to the wayside. I have had agents that were on my team that were just adamant about getting cards. And I think they thought that I like didn't want to spend the $50 or whatever to give them cards. And it's like, no, that's actually my strategy. Like, I don't have a business card. Like, I can't give you a business card because you're going to take it and you're going to throw it away and you're not going to do anything with it. But if you give me your information, I know I'm going to follow up with you. And it just is way better. It gives you the upper hand. But it also shows your like stick-to-itiveness and like your follow through. Like if you can be systematic about the way you're following up, and they get an email and a text message and a thank you or a handwritten note or whatever after your interaction, like think of what that first impression that you're going to make on that potential customer. Everyone say yes. That makes sense, Sarah. We're all going to nod now. Give me a 1 on the comments if you're like, yes, we totally agree, or a 2 if you're like, you're a freaking idiot. Why am I still listening to you?
Well, 2, it's funny because I'm way more introverted, and I'll watch Sarah ask like, hey, can I take a picture of you? Never once has someone said no. And I think
one time,
like, people run off of fear and they're like, oh, I don't want to be rejected or whatnot. But like, no one has ever said no to her. So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Okay. So when it does come to social media, again, there's definitely a place for social media. Ray is more that person. So do you want to just kind of talk about, I know when we discussed like TikToks and things like that, about like how long you have to catch people's attention and different like hooks and things that you can do.
Yeah, I'm curious. People let me know down below. Are you guys using Instagram? Are you using TikTok? Are you using both? Using Facebook? I'm curious to know. But yeah, the realm of social media, there is a place for it, especially if even if your demographic is a little bit older, like my mom will send me TikToks and reels every single
All the
night.
time. My like 70-year-old dad.
Yeah, that's like her thing at night. I know around like 9 o'clock, she's like winding down for the day and she'll send me her TikToks.
Yeah.
And it's funny. But okay, so Evelyn said Facebook and IG, Instagram. No one is using TikTok. I'm honestly shocked, but you should. And I'll tell you why. So
did you guys see the chipmunk video that I posted of our TikTok? Go look on there. It's on the Facebook page. Our pet chipmunks, we made a TikTok. We're pretty sure it's going to go viral.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll cover essentially like people's attention spans, how to actually hook people into your content. And also something about social media that I think a lot of realtors have done, which I want you guys to stray away from, is thinking like, oh, being a realtor is my identity. That's the only thing that I am, instead of saying like, I'm into fashion or fitness or recipes. And the reason being, I think it was yesterday that I talked about a girl named Sammy, who I had told Sarah about probably a year ago. And I was like, this girl is so cute. She's a realtor, but she's like blowing up on TikTok and Instagram. At the time, she only had like 50,000 followers. And now I think she has 1 million. And my friends are always sending me stuff of hers because she's just really relatable. And people know her as Sammy, the realtor, though, even though she's posting like, hey, I'm an agent all the time. She's posting like the video that blew up was her talking about a juicy chicken recipe that she posted, and people just loved it. And it was relatable. And I was actually just looking up her net worth, which doesn't really mean anything, but in terms of like how much she sold in the past year is insane. And she did an interview with Business Insider, and she said that she owes it all to social media. Cool. She doesn't do any other campaigns, nothing else. Her marketing dollars are to social media. And it goes to show that like social media is a free advertising platform for you. If you are not using it, like you should be, because it really is just free. For example, one of my passions is fitness. I posted the other day a video about this supplement that I use that helps heal the gut lining if you eat like processed foods and sugars. I didn't even talk about the product. I linked the actual product in my bio, and today I've already had 200 people click that link and buy it. And I'm just getting passive income from that, just because I was like, hey, I love this product. And I didn't even say the name of it, but it was something that was like, I'm not pushing it down people's throat. People are smart enough to click on your bio and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this. But that's essentially what Sammy does as a realtor. She has an Amazon page where essentially what Sarah and I did with our door hanger campaign, she has like her kitchen essentials, she has her home decor, but she's just acting like a friend to people, but people want to work with her because they see her personality, and her identity is not just being a realtor. She has more substance than that. And that's what I think a lot of people are like. For example, my dad was in the military his whole life, but you would never know that until someone asked him. He doesn't walk up to people and be like, hey, I had a Purple Heart and I was in the military. Like, it just doesn't come up unless he's being asked, and that's just something that I think is with all careers and what you should be. But I think you're told in school to be like, hey, I'm a realtor. And that's the first thing that you say to people.
For sure.
You're gonna say something, Sarah?
No, you're good. That's great. I was just putting in the comments. So we did just partner up with a friend of ours, and she's doing TikTok prompts for people that essentially it gives you like 90, I don't know if it's 90 days or what it is, but essentially she's giving you a prompt every day to go and make a new TikTok. I just shared it in the chat there. And then I also shared the Facebook page, for those of you that were asking, if you haven't been here in the group before. And then the Divvy for agents and Big Boo that we were talking about as well. So
I'm just putting Sammy's handle really fast.
Thank
so you.
you.
Look at her. But
Okay.
some go
ahead.
off of social media really fast just to get the hook for people. I think a lot of people are still using photo, which is fine, but video is really what captures people's attention now. And they say that actually most people's attention span is less than a second now, which is crazy, but that's from social media and people just scrolling. Once you have their attention, you essentially have 3 seconds and then they're done. You have to essentially hook them in. And it's usually words like how to do this, or like, I like this, you need this, because like, it's just words that essentially capture them and your audience. So it's like how to organize your pantry. I don't know, whatever it is, but it's something that's giving value to people instead of saying like, hey, I'm a realtor. It's like, people know that. You just need to actually like give them the value. So going off of that, I was going to say my last point. I'm kind of interested.
Charlotte wants your product.
I'll for sure send it.
Ray, you should all follow Ray on TikTok. She's like TikTok famous. She'll like go to Costco and like show people what she orders, and she has like 60,000 views. So she kind of knows what she's talking about.
It's funny, like if I actually took it more seriously, I think I could do pretty well on it, but I just like don't care. I just post whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
But the videos tend to do really well. They'll get like 100,000 views or like 60,000. Like the one yesterday, I think is at like 42,000, but it's just from like me, literally, it took me 15 seconds in my kitchen being like, hey, I like this. And I like showed me stirring the product. And then I was like, it's amazing. And that's it.
Last night at like 1 a.m., I was like, maybe I need L-glutamine in my life. Okay.
It literally.
All right. We don't want to get sidetracked. We've got 10 more minutes. So let me, we'll kind of not bring things back around. This is all great. But I did want to show people this. This kind of ties in with our Facebook group that we've created. I created one called Moving to Southern Utah, and I was able to generate like 250 leads in, I think it was like 3 weeks, something like that, 3 weeks to a month. Of like high quality leads of people that are looking to buy or sell in the area. Well, actually, it was mainly people looking to buy because it was called Moving To. And so I created a local guide that just shares information about the community. And when I say I mean Ray, because she's amazing. But essentially, we have a template like this that will show you how to get access to it to create something similar for your area. But just go and explore your community and look at things that are like fun to do and you think will be a good thing that you want to give reviews of and things like that, and make that as something that you can share. It can be a great lead generation strategy. You can say, hey, download my free guide. They can then put in their information, and then you can start doing an auto plan or a sequence with them. I was going to show you my little the little guide. It's cool. It like flips pages and stuff, but just because we're short on time, I'm not going to. This is a little bit of a preface for tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to be talking more about systems, and essentially what we mean by that is tools and things that you can do to automate and create leverage in your business that allows you to do things, you know, semi on autopilot. One of the things that, like, again, we have whole training programs about how to create a Facebook page, how to start engaging in other groups that will then feed your group and will show Facebook's like natural algorithm, like who they should be showing the group to. But one of the most important things to do is to create your group based on a need in your target demographic. And then you're creating membership questions. So you'll see here on the side, it says like, are you considering moving to Southern Utah? Do you currently live here? What email can I send you our free resources to? And are you currently looking for a rental? You're looking to purchase a home? Are you looking for a job opportunity? And so I'm gathering some information from them from these questions. Unfortunately, when you do this, there isn't a way to capture that information. Facebook doesn't like give you this CSV file that's like, hey, all these people joined your group, like here's their information. And so you have to kind of find a hack around that. And we have found and partnered up with a company called Group Convert, and they make this very easy for you. And so essentially it automates that whole process, and it makes it so that you can like auto approve members based on the questions that they answer. Then you can take all of that data and push it into a Google Sheet. And then like what we do with it is from that Google Sheet, we use something like Pabbly or Zapier, and that puts it into our CRM and it starts them on an auto plan. The other thing that's amazing that actually is a new feature that they just added, probably a lot of you have already experienced this when you joined one of our groups, but it starts a conversation as soon as they get accepted into the group. So all of you guys, when you joined our Facebook group for the 5-day challenge, when you answered those questions and you got accepted and then you got a Facebook message from me, I'm kind of pulling the curtain back, but when it's like, hey, thanks for joining the 5-day Pulse challenge, that is from this extension. It creates that. But then what's so awesome is that a lot of you engaged and came back and said, hey, I'm excited. All right. Yes, I already saw day 1. I'm excited for day 2. If you are getting a response back, that's actually me. Like I actually am engaging with you, but it's a lot easier to respond to the 10 or 15 that are actually wanting to engage in conversation than it is for me to proactively go and individually message every person that joins a random group, especially as you're growing and you like are scaling, and kind of how we were talking yesterday about dating a niche and getting the flywheel spinning on one target area and then moving to the next. You might be building multiple groups. Like Ray and I are admins on probably 50 plus groups. And so if I was having to manually go and do that every time, it would be nearly impossible. And the last thing that I want to talk about, again, becoming that expert in your area, is to become a Google guide. It sounds silly, and it's part of like the Google Maps program. So essentially, when you go into your Google Maps, there'll be a little like plus button that says contribute. And if you allow it to like track you where you're going, which is sometimes kind of creepy, but it will say like you just ate at like Ribbon Chop House, and then like you leave and you like drive away, and it literally like pops up on my phone and says like, how was your experience at Ribbon Chop House? And it like wants me to make a review. And so same thing, it's a something that makes it so that I am reactive. I do not typically think like, oh my gosh, I need to leave reviews because people might want to like move to my town and they want to know what my favorite restaurants are. But that app and the way that it is, it engages with me, it's very simple for me as I'm like going on. I'm riding in the car, not driving in the car, but really simple as soon as I leave to like do my review and like type out a little things of like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite dish. You should totally grab it. And it's kind of fun. I'm a level 6 Google guide, so I'm kind of a big deal. I'll be taking autographs later. But you actually get like little stars and stuff of like, good job, you got like 15 points because you added pictures on this review. But you can create lists kind of like you can on like Amazon and things like that. So we have a house in Puerto Rico and I help people with real estate down there. And so like I have a like Sarah recommends or Sarah's favorites in Puerto Rico. And I am now doing in St. George of like, these are my top restaurants. Like these are the ones that you should go to. So you can kind of curate these lists, and you could also do the same thing with activities. So maybe your passion is hiking or rock climbing or mountain biking. You could go on and create your whole little list of best things to do in Southern Utah. And then you can share that with people and you can see like these are my stats. So like my views are like my pictures, like one of them, they have 650,000 views. And so it's just another like added thing. I don't know that I'm getting like leads from this necessarily, but it's definitely something that it's a value add for my customers of like, hey, yeah, go check out my reviews. You can see, you know, what places I recommend in the area. Oh, I keep trying to do that. It like draws on it for me. Okay. Like I said, I'm strict on time. So today's homework, we would recommend that you, if you've decided on your niche and you can think of something that, again, you're going to name your group something that is resonating with your customer. Think of what they would actually be searching for, or think of a type of activity that the people that are in your target audience would be interested in joining that type of group. So we encourage you to go create a Facebook group, and then we will show you how you can download Group Convert for free, and at least kind of play around with it, see if it's something that you want to implement in your business. Let's see, I'm going to give you the little link, sorry. So feel free to download that. It's not required for our thing tomorrow, but it definitely would be helpful if you had it, so you can kind of like start to play around it. Yes, it is a Chrome extension. But it's super helpful. So go ahead and grab that. You can get it for free there. And I guess we'll just open it up for questions. Thank you so much for coming. I would love to hear in the comments, and also on our Facebook page, if you'd like to go and like give us a shout out, encourage people to come tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be live again and talking about systems. So we're going to dive deeper into how we utilize Group Convert and some of those things to make those interactions easier. And then we're going to be talking about templates and follow-up content creation, utilizing a CRM, utilizing templates. We're going to give you guys access to some of our templates. And so it will be extremely helpful. And this is where it kind of all starts to come to fruition to help you leverage and scale your business. Or if you're brand new and you're just starting, I promise you, getting things set up the right way at the beginning will save you so much time and headache and money and sacrifice and tears later on if you can build that framework and get some of these systems in place early on. So thank you. Yes, it is only a 14-day trial. We will show you, like, we have some other options that we'll give you, like free access for life. There's other things. So don't stress out. I'll send you a reminder to make sure that you're not charged if you do not like it. Full money back guarantee from me. And let's open it up for questions. Anyone?
So with Group Convert, it only converts, what's it called? I guess the contact details from a Facebook group. You're not able to do this with any other program or anything like that, correct?
What else? What are you trying to do?
So I know HubSpot will automatically put contacts in your CRM when you email people. But I'm wondering about if you're able to, use Group Convert for people clicking on your website and things like that. Because with my website, I have a few different things. I have, current mortgage rates, our rates, home value estimators, that sort of thing. But you have to fill out a form in order to send me that contact information for me to follow up. So I'm wondering if there's a way for them to go on the website and then it, I guess, steals or takes some of that data from what they're using.
So go ahead and book a spot on our calendar. There are some things that we could do to help you with that. The Group Convert is not it. Like it's simply a Chrome extension and it's made just for Facebook groups. But there's definitely some things I'd be happy to chat with you and give you some ideas on how to, kind of streamline that process. I can look at what you're already using. I think that I know it's in the bottom of all my emails. There's like a book with me on all of the emails. I think it's in the Facebook page too. I don't have it right this second. But yeah, just grab a spot on my calendar. Probably next week would be best. I'm actually getting surgery, LASIK. Yay for the glasses. But yeah, grab a spot on my calendar next week and we can totally chat. And anyone else? Was this helpful? Those of you that have your microphones on.
I was going to tell Robert too, the Facebook pixel will capture all of that for you because Facebook and Google will do it all, but there's no other extension that will. You can retarget those people, obviously, like if you want to run ads to them or something, but I don't even think that you could just like email them off of the pixel.
Right.
But,
and that makes sense because at least with Facebook, you're logging in through an email address to get to that Facebook group. And that's how it takes that data. So that makes perfect sense.
The other thing that I've just started doing more experimentation with is chat bots. So like we have a chat bot on our website that like pops up and is like, hey, how can we help you? Well, you can create this like as part of our systems, like you can create these flows. So depending on what they were doing, it could be like, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? And then like you could do a string of questions that was gathering that information from them and then take that information and start a sequence or do whatever. A chatbot could be a great way to do that on your website.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Thank
we
you.
can definitely
I'll
help you set that up. Anyone else? We don't have more minutes, but I've got more minutes. All right.
Patrice, I know you have a question.
Either that or it's like, oh my gosh, this was so amazing. You guys told us all the secrets. We don't have any questions. Or you guys are just all really quiet.
Nope. Patrice has one. He unmuted himself.
Yes. Hey, how you doing? So, just going back to some of the like the text to capture info, in terms of campaigns, right? So, for instance, like sometimes I'll farm my neighborhood, and so I was just curious to know, like, for instance, like I have a lender that makes the door hangers or whatever type of marketing material for that particular for that whatever area I'm going to. You had mentioned something about I couldn't recall if you said that you on a door hanger on a flyer that you attach something to it. I don't know if it was a business card or it was like a magnet or I don't remember if it was some sort of gift,
So on the mailers, I use QR codes. Okay. I'm really gearing more towards QR codes now, even over texting. I like the QR codes. It's just faster for some reason. Like the texting ones sometimes can get a little bit messier, but depending on what you're utilizing, the texting, it gets their phone number. So then again, if you want to do text message marketing and you word it correctly that they're actually opting in, you can do some pretty intense text message marketing if that's part of your strategy, but you just have to be really careful because you can get sued pretty easily as well. So just be careful, but yeah, QR codes is what I would utilize on those things and then direct them to, again, whatever page or resource or tool that you're wanting to get them access to.
Okay, so when you say that the text messaging, are you using like a total separate number for that, or are you using, like, for instance, I have,
the thing that we're talking about, it's part of our CRM that we recommend. I think you might be able to buy it separately. I can find out because again, like they give me discounts for you guys. I can see if we can get a discount on just that. But that is like an actual like text system. So 59559 is the number every time. It would be the same number for you. At least I think, at least in my area, like that is the number that people text. It's the code that's different. So it's the word of like, if it's Cliffside or if it's pumpkin or if it's buyers, that you go into the back end of the system and you tell it what to say. So like if you wanted to have text buyers to 59559, then it would send them a text message with like your buyer's guide, or text sellers to 59559, and then it would text them your seller's guide. And so that's how I'm utilizing, that's an actual program. It's not my phone number. So I'm not engaging in conversations with them. That's a way to like, distribute information. Now to answer your question, especially new agents, I have a whole TikTok about this, but I highly recommend you get a non-brokerage specific real estate or email address that is not associated with your brokerage. I'm talking from personal experience. And then same thing, get a Twilio number or something if you have one that goes through your CRM, but same thing, don't get one that comes with your brokerage. Get a Google Voice number or a Twilio number or something that you can use as your main phone number, and then have it integrated so that it comes to your cell phone. So all of my client interactions, everything that I do is all done on my cell phone, but it's done within an app on my cell phone so that I have records of every single client interaction I ever have. I do not text, call, or email a single client ever without having record of it.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. I guess we will call it a day. Right. Ryan's starting to make lunch over here. So that means that it's time to go.
Right. If you want to see how I make lunch, you can follow me on TikTok.
Yes, you can follow, what is it?
Random Ryan K.
Random Ryan K on TikTok. If you would like to know how to make the best freaking steak you will ever have in your life in an air fryer in 20 minutes. Random Ryan.
I'm honestly so impressed right now with Ryan that he is a TikTok.
I know, right? Go on there, look at our squirrel.
I know, now I'm going to.
Sorry.
Freaking
Chipmunks, and then sell enough real estate that you can buy steak that looks like that, because he does take all the credit, but it could just be that he buys the laziest cows out there.
Lazy cows make awesome steak.
So, all right. You guys have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yep. See you tomorrow. Same time.